following conversation is with Lisa Lofberg. She's the chef and owner of the restaurant Little Moss in South Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Lisa is a true farm-to-table chef, highlighting the quality of local produce and local livestock. Without further ado, here is Lisa Lofberg. What was your first major roadblock?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I would say the major roadblock was just the timing of the opening, because we had originally closed the restaurant. We had our cafe before, closed to renovate, and it was supposed to take 6 months, and then it ended up taking 18 months.
Oh, wow.
And then during that time, John's dad ended up buying the building, which is now Farm and Coast, and starting a renovation on that. And then, so when we first closed, we didn't know those plans.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a different vision for the restaurant. And then that kind of shifted what we wanted to do. So just kind of shifting our plan for opening. And then also, I was about to have a baby right when we opened. He ended up being born 3 weeks after the day we opened. So we had to hire...
Not even a month.
Yeah, not even a full month. So we had to hire a team to kind of open the restaurant for us, a team of people we didn't know, we had never worked with before, and didn't really fully know our vision. So I would say just conveying our vision to the new team, and then having to open without, I couldn't really work at that point every day.
Right. Yeah. You just gave birth.
Having to just kind of give the thing that we'd been so excited about for so long over to people to kind of get it open for us wasn't ideal, I would say. So that was definitely the biggest roadblock.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. You're so excited to do this project and working on it more than a year, and then it finally happens and you're out of the game, basically.
Yeah. So I think, it was a blessing in disguise, because there were a lot of things that happened in those first few months that we learned so much from, and that we might not have been able to kind of fully understand if we were in the thick of it in the kitchen, working every day. So it was kind of nice to have a perspective from just an ownership but not working perspective.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. You get to see people kind of struggling with things right at the open, so then you don't make the same mistakes when you eventually shift back in to the role.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we also got to experience from the customer side. We ate here a bunch of times, which we probably wouldn't have been able to do in the first few months that we opened. And we just got to interact with the guests and hear direct feedback that way too. So
what was the hardest part of trying to convey the vision that you had, the concept, to these people who you didn't even know? What were some of the challenges there?
Well, I would say a lot of them were from Boston, so they weren't from this area. And they were also really creative people with lots of ideas about what they wanted to do. So we didn't want to kind of stomp on that creativity and sense of ownership, but we also, I think just conveying what people in this area want and what's different about this area from other places. And it's also very personal. This restaurant, the whole idea behind it was just a vision that John and I had for a long time. And so it's hard to just kind of tell that to other people and have them execute it the way you would want. It's impossible, I think.
Without just standing over their shoulder and being a total...
and that's no fun either.
Yeah, nobody benefits from that.
Yeah.
Could you break down the timeline? Because Little Moss wasn't always Little Moss. It was.
Yeah. So we bought in 2009, we bought an existing cafe that was called Cecily's, and it had been open at the time for 17 years. So it was kind of an institution in the area. This town was a lot different back then, and there wasn't a lot going on. So it was kind of the only thing happening. And they were open, I think they were open 7 days a week, and they served breakfast and lunch, kind of takeout, coffee and baked goods and prepared foods and stuff like that. So we bought that, kind of thinking we would run it as it was and slowly make changes once we got comfortable. And we ran it for, I think, like a little over a year, and we made a lot of changes. We ended up making some really significant changes to the menu. We had the goal of making everything from scratch, or as much as we could from scratch. And so as we changed the menu, our customers came to us and they said, you should really change the name. This is a different place than it used to be. And, you know, you should make it your own. And after hearing that for months, we finally decided to change the name. And we had a contest, which might not have been the best idea, but we had a contest to come up with a name. And we ended up choosing the Beach Plum Cafe, which I never really loved it, but it's what we chose. And
that is a crazy thing to leave to a competition.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, we couldn't think of anything. We tried so hard, and I think naming a child is way easier than naming a business somehow, because it really, you know, it's, everyone kind of judges what you are based on your name, I guess. So it felt like a lot of pressure, and we were just not able to come up with something we both agreed on. So anyway, we had this contest. We chose the Beach Plum Cafe, and we rebranded, and then we just continued as much as we could to improve the quality of the food. And it was a very steep learning curve, buying an existing business and then just like figuring out how to change it. But it was really fun. It was so much work, but really fun. And but the biggest problem there was the building was just in terrible shape. It was basically crumbling around us. There were literally holes in the walls with plants growing through them. And
oh, geez.
You know, the building was in much worse condition when we bought it than we realized. We had an inspection and everything, and it passed the inspection. But when we really got in there, we realized it was in rough shape. So we did as much as we could to patch things up, but at some point you can't keep patching up a crumbling building. Yeah. So we just had a point in time after, I think it was our 5th summer being open. We closed in September, and we just decided we needed to completely renovate. And we had contractors come in, and that's when they said it would probably be about 6 months. And then, you know, so that's the timeline.
Yeah. And how did you guys get to then Little Moss? Was that after all the construction happened?
Yeah, so during the construction, we had done dinners a little bit at the Beach Plum. We didn't have a liquor license or anything, but we did. Because
Beach Plum was more like a cafe, coffee shop type situation. Yeah,
so we did breakfast and lunch. We did coffee. John and I are both really into coffee. So we did really great coffee, great sandwiches, good breakfast sandwiches. And then we did serve full breakfast also. And we did like a lot of baked goods and stuff like that. But then we did some dinners in the summer on the weekends. And that's when we realized we really love making dinner. And it was very well received. It was fun, very casual. And so our vision when we closed was to do dinners, but still keep like elements of our cafe. So we wanted to do brunch on the weekends. We wanted to do like quick service coffee in the morning, coffee and baked goods in the morning, and maybe like keep our egg sandwich because it was really good.
Nice.
And then when we found out about Farming Coast opening, we had the conversation, like, it kind of makes more sense for them to take the cafe part of our business and have that at the market.
Because they're kind of in the same group. Like John's dad owns both buildings, correct?
Yeah. So so John's family owns both the real estate, and then we pay rent to them for Little Moss. But we're not, like, there's no like management connection or connection with the businesses.
Like you and John are effectively like the owners of Little Moss and pretty much make all of the administration decisions as well as operations and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I think that's good though. I think restaurants benefit a lot from like having a chef be one of the owners as well, because you're thinking about the whole picture. You're not just like, I need to make the food good. You're thinking about operations and ordering and, you know, staffing and all these different things.
Yeah, I think an owner will always have like more of those things in mind and care more than anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So when we found out about Farming Coast, we decided, okay, we'll focus on dinners. Maybe we'll still do brunch, but we'll be more of a, you know, dinner restaurant.
Yeah, more of a dinner restaurant. But now we've gotten there, because now we're doing brunch on weekends, which is so good. Like that day when me and Sienna both came in, and then you were like, why don't you go just sit down and have brunch? Like the Eggs Benedict was like ethereal. Like it was like the best Eggs Benedict ever.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And I love Eggs Benedict. That was one of the first, it was like a critical dish for me, because I made it during COVID, which is when I was deciding, because I was in college for 3 years. That was when I was deciding kind of what was next, because I knew I was like, something is next. Like I know I need to do something else. This isn't it. And was home all the time during COVID. And I like just could only play so many video games. And I started just really looking forward to cooking. And so I made Eggs Benedict for my dad one day. And he's a very practical guy, like very like logical, you know, no bullshit. Yeah. And so I served him this Eggs Benedict. I like learned how to make a hollandaise from YouTube, and like I'd eaten it before. So I learned how to poach an egg, like just little things. And then I did it, made it look all nice. I still have a picture of it. And then I gave it to him and he ate it. And he was like, oh, that was great. I already had told him, like, I'm thinking about maybe going to culinary school, and like, I think I want to cook. So he ate it and he was like, yeah, that was good. Could you do it 100 more times? And my stepmom was like, don't say that. You're going to discourage him or something like at the time. But that was like a critical question.
Yeah, it's a good question
that he asked me, because I thought about it for days. And then I came back to him and I was like, I could do that 100 times, and I want to. Like, I want to do it more, and I want to improve every time. And that was one of the questions that really like made it click, that I was like, this is maybe more than just I'm looking forward to it. It's like, this is what I should be spending my time on.
Yeah.
So, Eggs Benedict is like,
oh, I love that.
Yeah, special, very special dish to me, even though I'm not a big breakfast guy, but Eggs Benedict is.
I mean, I feel like that's the number one brunch item.
It's just the best. It's just the best.
People always order it.
It doesn't get any better.
People seek it out.
Yeah. Like if we didn't have it, people would ask for it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really want to put it on the menu, honestly, because I felt like I wanted to do things that are different than no one else is doing. But I feel like that's the one thing where if we can do it, we have to do it the best.
Yeah.
And then people will come for that.
For sure. I think that I was just listening to, I forget his name, but the chef at Carbone. He was doing like a podcast, and I was just watching him talk about it. And I never thought about it this way, but he said there's like two types of chefs. There's chefs that want to make something you've never tasted before. And then there's chefs that want to make something you've had 1,000 times, but they want to make it the best.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about it like that. But Eggs Benedict is like exactly that other school of thought, where it's like you've had 1,000 Eggs Benedicts your whole life. But ours is like, it was the best I've ever had. And I think it's a combination of all the little things. It's like the bread is just insane, like really, really good bread program. Smoke our own bacon, like really, really delicious. The eggs are high quality. We get them from a farm. And then the hollandaise is also just like, as good as we can make it. So it's like,
Irini has mastered the hollandaise.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's just, one of those things that people have eaten a million times, but doing it really, really well, I think is like what makes the difference for people.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely one of those types of people where I love taking classics and just making them as best as possible. Or, I don't feel like I need to reinvent anything. Just like have fun with it and be proud of it.
And the classics are classics for a reason. Me and Shannon talked about this because he was always talking about
Shannon and I always talk
classic
about that
flavors
too.
and stuff like this.
Yeah, because we were very much on the same page with that. Shannon and I have very similar tastes, and that was fun to talk about with him. We did that with the bar program too.
Yeah, he was all about the old fashions and the martinis and like just like classic cocktails, but again, doing them like just as good as you can possibly do it, like simple but really good.
Yeah, for sure. I think, if you're good at the classics, then you can kind of branch off and put twists on things, but that's sort of the foundation.
For sure. So are you from Arizona originally? Or did you just live there?
Yeah, so I was born there, and my family lived there until I was 11.
So what was it like growing up there? And are there any like foods and flavors that you kind of like love from that, Midwestern, Western part of the United States that you've taken with you?
Yeah, for sure. I love, love, love Mexican food. Growing up there, it was, very different than New England. Mm-hmm. It's the desert, it's hot, and but it's very close to the border with Mexico. So there's tons of really good homemade things that you can't really get anywhere else. Certainly not in this area. I would say there's two things that come to mind from my childhood, and one is in the winter time, I think it's like November and December, there would always be these like Mexican grandmothers sitting outside the supermarket selling green corn tamales, which are like one of my all-time favorite foods. I think the corn is in season at that time, so they use fresh corn and masa mix. I think it's like the masa is made with dried corn, but then they also mix in fresh corn, and they're a little sweeter, and they're just so delicious. They're like very creamy. They're made with pork lard, I think, and my mom would always buy the green chili and cheese one. And
sounds amazing.
Oh my gosh, they were so good. We'd take them home, they'd still be warm, and the car would smell amazing. And then we'd get home and warm them up, and my mom would just put a little salted butter on them. I don't know, that's probably not traditional, but that's how we ate them. And they were so good. They're just like creamy, sweet, salty, a little bit spicy, but not too spicy, and like gooey cheese. And oh my gosh, it's like the best. And I didn't know until more recently that that's like a very regional thing. It's only available in Tucson and like in between Tucson and the border basically of northern Mexico.
Oh wow.
So it's really hard to find a good recipe for them. I've tried making them a bunch of times and they never come out right. And the other sad thing about that is they're not allowed to sell them outside the supermarket anymore, and restaurants don't really have them there. So you can buy like what they call sweet corn tamales or green corn tamales, but I haven't had one that quite compares in years.
Is the corn green that they're using?
Yeah, I think the husk is still green. I think that's why they're called green corn.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it's just because for making cornmeal and masa, they dry it out so it turns yellow or pale yellow. But then for these tamales, they use it while it's still fresh and the husk is green.
Sounds amazing.
I'll try to find some.
Yeah. I've had me at pork lard.
I've been on a mission to find those again. There used to be a restaurant that sold them that were pretty good, and it closed down.
Oh,
so
it's like
I don't know
a
where
food
else.
That's going extinct.
Yeah, I think it might be the last time I was in Tucson 2 years ago and I couldn't find them anywhere. I looked all over the city. That was like one of my missions, to bring some back. And
It's tragic.
it is tragic. So if anyone out there knows about green corn tamales, let me know.
Send us the information.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I know I have wanted to ask you about Arizona for so long because I knew you like grew up there or lived there at some point. And then you mentioned like, oh, you'd love to do, if you were to do another concept, like do like Little Masa. And I figured that region kind of had like an impact on you. And it seems like it definitely did.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's like my childhood was spent there, my early childhood. A lot of the food we ate was just influenced by Mexican flavors. Another thing we used to have all the time, which we can't find here, is really good flour tortillas. They have, like, I think it's the Sonoran style flour tortilla. It's also made with lard. And it's rolled out like super, super thin, like almost transparent. And we had those more than regular bread. So like all our sandwiches were just like roll-ups made on those. And they're really good, just fresh with a little salted butter on them, just like warmed up. It's like so good. I've made them here a couple of times. They're a little work and they're not as good, but those you can still find there. They just, no one around here makes them.
It's incredible what you can do with corn.
Yeah.
Like
well, these
culture.
were flour tortillas, but the corn tortillas also like are incomparable. Like, yeah, corn is amazing. And like, I don't know the whole history of it, but like when they discovered how to nixtamalize corn, like that sort of saved the culture because it allows you to absorb more nutrients from it.
So I understand that process at like a super basic level, but for people who don't know, like kind of talk through the process of like what that is, because you take the corn and then you have to make it digestible.
Yeah, so you soak it in a solution. It's called cal, and I think it's made from ashes actually, but it's poisonous or you just eat it. But if you soak the corn in it, and you can do it with other things too. There's some restaurants, like I think Rustic Canyon and a few other restaurants do it with fruit and vegetables.
Oh,
but it basically takes off the outer kind of membrane of the corn and dissolves it. And then it just like somehow opens up the your body to be able to digest it better.
Interesting. It's so crazy that like how did they discover that?
Yeah.
And then when they did discover it, it was like game changing.
Yeah.
Like really, like you said, save the culture like at that time.
Yeah. I need to read more about it because I don't feel comfortable talking about it. but
that's okay.
I've
gotten so many things
I know,
wrong.
like that's like the gist of it, basically.
Yeah, it is very interesting. But shifting to, because you started in Arizona as a child, but shifting to Paedonarum, what makes Paedonarum like special to you? Because I know that the whole mission of Little Moss is like really just showing and displaying the produce that's around here in like South Coast Massachusetts. So what's special about Paedonarum, and also just what's important about place, like when it comes to having a restaurant?
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, that's our mission. That's why we opened, because we recognized this area is, it just has so many incredible farms. And it's also right on the ocean, so it's a fun place to visit. But it, we're right next to New Bedford, so it's like one of the largest fishing ports in the country, so maybe the world even. So there's great seafood, great produce, people just doing really cool things. And when I go other places, I kind of realize how spoiled we are here, because I forget when we're kind of just in it living every day. We can just go down the street to the farm stand and buy this incredible produce that other towns don't have that really. But at the time when we opened Little Moss, before, when we were like thinking of the concept, there weren't quite as many farms here, but the farms that did exist were doing very cool things. And a lot of the farms, we became friends with the farmers through the beach plum, because we tried to buy as much local there as well. And they were all shipping their produce or delivering their produce up to Boston every week, sometimes twice a week. And we thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if there was a restaurant that could use the produce more locally, so you wouldn't have to drive, do that commute all the time. But it's just, when you taste fresh grown almost anything, it's going to be better than what you can find at the supermarket or what you can find through a produce distributor. And it's healthier and tastes better and lasts longer because it's so fresh. So yeah, I would say this area is really special because of the farms and the climate.
Yeah, the climate. I mean, we have 4 pretty well-defined seasons too, which I feel like is good for produce, because they have to like struggle through the winter, especially if they're like perennial.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes spring can be really cold, and then they come up, and then when it's finally summer, it's like just abundant. Like I've seen it firsthand, like on the roof, like planted those with Danny, like planted all those little seedlings, and it's like they start off so small, and in 2 weeks they're just exploding. Like it's just incredible.
It's wild to see that.
Yeah, but I think that's like such a great mission, and also like to see the supply chain of like, oh, you guys are already making like top-notch produce that you're sending to Boston. Like seeing that supply chain and being like, well, if we were open right here, you wouldn't have to drive to Boston. I mean, I'm sure they still do, but it's because they're a business. But giving them another person to sell to that's local is probably like huge for them. Like just like all the farmers around here, and it's good for the farms. It's not just good for you and getting good produce, but like it really connects the chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good. I'm a big believer in this type of food system where you grow things locally, you eat it locally, and you keep it in its own little bubble. I think it's healthier, it's better for the environment, it's better for the farmers, it's better for everybody.
It is.
And I've really noticed, I have to give Eva all the credit, because she was the first one. There's lots of farmers in this area for hundreds of years, but she was the first one to really grow specifically for restaurants. And I think, at least 75% of the farms in this area were started by people who were former employees of Eva's. And so she's kind of like helped that grow in this area in a really impactful way.
Yeah, she kind of sparked it at like a commercial level. Not even commercial level, just sparked it at a level where you could sell to restaurants like produce and not just like have a little garden. It's like
have a garden or just have a farm stand on the side of the road, which I think a lot of people did. And there have been farms like corn and other things in this area that they sell to markets and stuff, but I think not really specifically for restaurants.
So going from being, because you didn't work in any restaurants before this.
No.
So what has it been like just kind of learn, like, I know it's been a process because you've had like head chefs in the past that were working here. So what has it been like learning how to be a head chef? And then also, because you haven't really worked in any other restaurants, it's like just really been here and you've really learned everything here. It's like, how do you think being kind of unjaded by the industry like affects you as a chef?
Well, I think especially given my age, like the time that I would have spent as a chef working, making my way up, I would have left. I think from talking to peers that are my age and chefs, it was a very toxic environment, and I'm not about that at all. I don't think I would have ever chosen it as a career if I had to kind of go through that. I can handle a lot. I'm tougher than people think I am when they meet me, but I just don't want to spend my time in those kinds of spaces. So I think maybe just having this be our restaurant and being able to make all those decisions of like whether I want to let that in here or not has been really beneficial, because we have had people that are toxic come through here that try to haze people and try to kind of break people down, and they don't last because that's just not,
nobody likes it,
and I can't tolerate that. So I want to be able to enjoy coming to work, and I want to creating a positive work environment is actually one of the things I'm most proud of here, because people seem to like coming to work, and I stay in touch with former employees, and they always speak fondly of, not everyone, but most people speak fondly of their time here, and I'm really proud of that. And
I mean, you should be proud of it, because I've worked for some pretty jaded people, and it's like night and day, like creating an environment where people enjoy coming to work, are excited about what we're doing. It's like, it's pretty awesome.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you appreciate that. But I also really believe that if people, you have to be happy in order to create a good experience for the guest. So if the chefs that we have back here are happy, proud of the food they're making, enjoying their job, the front of house appreciates the food that we're making, it all goes together. If everyone feels good about what we're doing here, then the guests should feel good about it too. And I think for the most part that happens.
I think it speaks so much to like the change in the industry over the past like 30 years. What you said about like not really tolerating like that toxic mentality where it's like, we're going to haze people, we're going to, break people down. It's like, that's so common in like your older kitchen, or like in the 90s or 80s.
Yeah.
Like it was so common, it was expected. But I think what you said, it just perfectly highlights like how the industry has changed, because it's like, not only is it kind of frowned upon, it's actually like not really tolerated anymore, because it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, you're making it miserable for everybody else here, and we're all just trying to make a living and enjoy it at the same time. So it's like, exactly. It doesn't have to be like a drug-ridden fuckfest, excuse my French, no. But like you can do it the right way.
No, there's no reason for that. I mean, I think in the short term, sometimes like fear is a motivator for people, but that kind of doesn't last forever. And people get burnt out more easily when they're motivated by fear, and they're not going to invest as much of themselves into what they're doing, I think.
For sure. And I think that, like, I have worked at some pretty busy places, and the stress of, we're going to be really busy tonight, like we're going to serve 500 people tonight or something, is never as bad, because that's just like, you take a deep breath, you lock in, like you're ready to go.
Yeah.
It's never as bad as, oh man, my sous chef like really hates me and is like belittling me, like I have to go work with them for 16 hours right now. Like, I've worked with that as well, and like that, the social stress and the social pressures of those negative people and like the things that they try to impose on you from being jaded is like just such a worse stress than like, oh my God, we're going to be busy tonight. Like I can take that all day. But when it's like, oh my God, like I have to go work with this person tonight, it can be like I don't want to go to work.
Miserable.
And then like you just get anxiety.
It's basically abuse.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like abuse in the workplace. That's like totally cool with, most kitchens, but
yeah. I don't understand that at all.
I don't either, but it definitely does happen. But going back to learning how to be a head chef, what was that journey like? Like having some proxy chefs and like starting from zero to where you are now.
I think it's been really fun, actually. I've learned so much from the people who have worked here over the years. I always learn a lot from everyone. I feel like it's very collaborative, and I mean, I hope I'll always be learning from everybody until I retire. But yeah, it's been fun because I can take things from previous chefs that things that I like how they do it, and I can take things that I don't like how they do things, and just pick and choose what I want to keep here as the common thread, I guess. But yeah, everyone has something to share.
So just like learning from other people.
Yeah,
and kind
just
of
learning from other people.
Taking what you can. And
there's been so many different restaurants that our other chefs have worked at, and yeah, everyone brings like a different background, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. Like just basically just learning from everybody around you and taking what you want and leaving what you don't, and then kind of just becoming like your own chef, That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I always struggle with the word chef because I feel like it's very weighted and it has like,
it just means boss.
Association.
That's all it means.
I don't always like identify with, but it is my job. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I feel like right now, especially, we're all chefs together,
which is nice. It's a nice environment because everybody's opinion is like heard here, which is like great. Like we all really work together. It's a small team, but like we all work together, and like if there's an issue, it's pretty easy to just talk it through.
Yeah.
We're all pretty reasonable and have the same goal. Like we want to just do our best and do right by the customer.
Yeah.
Sure. So continuing learning from other people and learning from other places. So where are some places that you've like traveled over the past, like during your chef journey? And what have you learned? Like what was your number one place that you went and you really like took something from it, like the culture, the food, and like worked it into what you do here?
Oh gosh. I would say maybe gone to a lot of restaurants since we started, but probably Prune in New York. That was the restaurant where I felt like the most kind of personal connection with. Like I loved their aesthetic. I loved their menu and how it was very simple, but everything was so delicious. I loved just the casualness, but also like it was casual, but also professional. It was just, it hit the sweet spot of like, fun, and I just liked everything about it.
That's like your number one.
So
like it was just
we went there before we opened Little Moss during the renovation process, and I remember going there and feeling like, wow, this would be cool to kind of emulate a little bit or take inspiration from.
So that was like the first place where you went and you're like, this is the type of place I want to have,
yeah,
like, or at least a vibe that you want to like cultivate.
Yeah.
Nice. Were there any like international trips you took where you really were like just inspired or blown away?
Yeah, well, before, like years ago, before I even met John, I spent 8 months living in France and Italy, and I just ate really amazing food there. And I think that was my first time like really appreciating wine, because I was in my early 20s and I hadn't really had a lot of good wine until then. And then it sort of changed my perception of wine, and having like really amazing produce. It was mostly during the summer that I was there, so just the produce was outrageous.
Sounds like a good time to be in.
Cheese was amazing. There was like a farmer's market, like an indoor farmer's market near where I was staying, and I would go there and just buy like a perfectly ripe melon and eat it for breakfast. And it was like so great. But I have gone more recently, gone to Sweden and Denmark, and some of the restaurants there are just so charming. I just love, there's like a sensibility there that's just like simple and elegant, and it's hard to describe, but I just love that kind of.
I want to go there so bad.
Yeah.
To Denmark specifically.
Yeah, Copenhagen it's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, and it's, you know, the food everywhere you go, the food is just amazing.
What were some of the standout, not necessarily like places, but what were the standout like flavors or just dishes that you had that really like stuck with you?
Well, I would say some of the best pastries I've ever had been there, and we've been in June and in August, and June is when the strawberries are ripe there. So some of the pastries with strawberries, they make these like, I can't remember what they're called, but it's just like a milk bun dough or brioche dough, and it's filled with custard and fruit and then rolled in sugar, and those are just so
amazing.
Good. And then the laminated pastries there are just
there's
outrageously delicious.
I'm not like a big sweets guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm much more savory, but my like weakness is laminated dough. Like whether it's Danish or puff pastry, just like that is just so, because I love how it's like semi-sweet. It's not really about the sugar that's in it or like the sweetness. It's really just about like the fluffiness and the texture of it. And something about that just really does it. Like that is like my absolute weakness.
Yeah. Well, they make these, I forgot what they're called, but it's basically like a croissant, but it's more savory, and it's rolled, it's covered in poppy seeds, and it's like a little bit sweet, but also savory, and those are really good. Those you can find all over.
Oh, sounds amazing.
And then they also make these, sorry, I'm going to go on and on. They also make these like seeded, like multigrain bread rolls, and then they just put like a thick layer of salted butter and a thick layer of cheese in the middle, like cold. And it seems like it would be like boring, but for some reason that combination for breakfast is just so good, or for a snack.
The multigrain that we have here as well is pretty insane. Like I've never really been like a multi-grain, like seeds in my bread type of person.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually hated it growing up, but the multi-grain that you have here really like changed that perspective. Like the other day I was just like doing herbs and parm and like just a bunch of little prep stuff, and I had eaten, so I had like 2 pieces of toast with the like a little slab of the Sassy Lady cheese, and I put the jam on the toast with a little bit of butter. And it was just like so good. I was like, I could eat this every day. It's a texture. Like it's like spongy, but in a good way. Like it's just got that like chew to it. And then the seeds aren't like, and then the seeds aren't like, you know, you're eating granola right now. It's like, you don't even notice them.
Yeah, no, I love that bread too. That's inspired by like Scandinavian breads. They eat a lot of those seeded rye breads, and there's like a few different styles. There's one that's like even more dense that's really common there, that's also just delicious. it lasts forever when you slice it really thin and just have it with cheese or smoked salmon or something.
So good.
But yeah, that bread is definitely inspired by those chips.
I think we need to get back to those type of breakfasts in the United States because it's really just like bacon, egg, and cheese. That's like pretty much, or like scrambled eggs. Which nothing wrong with scrambled eggs, but it's like that's what most people are eating. Like your American breakfast is like an omelet or like, 2 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, some sausage, some white bread. But it's like just eating some like really actually good bread, some jam, some cheese, poached egg. Like the Danish breakfast we do is like, it's actually really satisfying and like really delicious.
Satisfying. It's fun to share. That's what I tell the servers. It's like a little expensive, but it's fun. It's like a good thing for 2 people to share that and then get something sweet. That's like my ideal breakfast.
Yeah, because it comes with an egg too. So it's like you have a little protein, a little carb, the butter and the jam, a little sugar. Like it really is just a little bit of everything. And then the ham too.
Yeah.
Just gives you that like salty, like, oh, so good. So your philosophy is always be tweaking.
Yeah.
And we say that all the time here.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? And then how do you deal with the constant array of produce and herbs that we're constantly getting in seasonally? So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So it's definitely challenging. I can see why, people don't always want to have a seasonal restaurant because you have to always be tweaking if that's your philosophy.
Yeah.
And, for me, it means 2 things. One is like always trying to improve on what we're doing. I think I've listened to some of your other podcasts and I've heard you talk about, striving for perfection and it's impossible. But you can always try and always try to get better. And there's always new ways to do stuff. And maybe it's like making something taste better. Maybe it's a more efficient way of making something, or maybe it's just the way something's plated, but just always trying to improve and make it better and more interesting for the guest. But also always tweaking with what's available. The produce that comes in does change from week to week. And a lot of times, you get something one week and you can't get it the next week. And then you just switch it out. And that, sometimes it's frustrating for people, and it is more work. And then it complicates things because especially in the summer when we're busy is when that happens the most.
Yeah, so, things are just changing constantly.
Yeah, but that's the point of the restaurant is we want to use the best ingredients that we can get, and we want to use also with like the seafood, for example, the most sustainable seafood. So usually those are the things that you can't just get all the time. You have to tweak it.
Always be tweaking.
Yeah.
Speaking of the seafood, it's so great to like getting to work with like some fish that's like killed Ikejime style. Like I know my first day here on my stage, you were like, oh, hey, we have some Ikejime mackerel that, do you want to fillet them? And I was like, absolutely. Like, because that's like what I spend my free time watching. It's like videos on how to do that and like why people do it. And like that's what I'm super interested in. So coming here and off the bat, just seeing that you were also at that same place with seafood where you're like, this is really the best way to treat it, that was like the biggest green flag that possibly could have been there. Cause it was like, nice. Like
that was also, just kind of a fluke that day. Cause that was the first time we had ever gotten it.
No pun intended. Fluke.
Oh yeah. No pun intended. But yeah, that was the first time we had ever gotten it. It's a new program that, it's a grant funded program out of Narragansett, I think. And so, yeah, I was very excited to get it in too.
Yeah, and so we got mackerel that one time, and then we've gotten fluke that was done, Ikejime, we got mackerel again, and then that striped bass we just got recently was just the biggest fish I've ever broken down.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, Danny said it was 20 pounds. I did not believe him. Like all together with the bones and the head and everything.
It was 26 pounds.
It felt so much heavier. I worked out the day before, but it was like I picked it up and I was like, this is a ginormous fish. Like it was huge.
It did seem bigger to me too than they said.
Yeah.
I think it said 26 pounds.
But what a pleasure to work with, like, fish that's been treated the best way.
Yeah, and it does actually taste better.
It
I mean,
does.
I've noticed that immediately.
And it lasts
tastes
longer,
better,
too.
It lasts longer.
Yeah.
It stays fresher.
I wish more places would do it, but I understand that it's a lot of labor and a lot of time spent on each fish.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know what we're talking about the ikejime method of killing a fish, which is when you basically take like an ice spike and spike its brain, so then it kills the fish instantly. There's no suffering. It just dies instantly. And trigger warning, this next part is a little brutal, but you take then a wire and you go in through the same hole and you basically obliterate their spinal cavity and just destroy all the nerves. So that stops the fish from twitching and releasing all of its stress hormones, which is what makes a fish spoil and taste bad when the stress hormones get into the blood, and then it sits in the meat for a long time. And then the final part of ikejime is to bleed the fish. So you just remove that blood completely, or as much as you can. And then that, in turn, there'll be no stress hormones in the fish. Fish died instantly, which is best for the fish.
Yeah.
And then you just get the highest quality, longest lasting products that we then receive and get to do whatever we want with, which is just such a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It's very cool. I'm really thrilled to be able to work with those guys.
Yeah. I want to talk to them. I'll definitely have to reach out to them. That would be a cool one.
You can go. It's Stu at Fearless Fish. I think he's kind of spearheaded that program.
I'll definitely.
He has a fish market in Providence.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to reach out to him because that would be a cool thing be a cool episode to sit down and talk for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some struggles of the off season and also just like being in such a small village? Like Padenarum's not really a big town, so like what are some challenges there?
Yeah, so I would say the challenges are just the seasonality is our biggest challenge overall of the whole restaurant, because you go from, in January, sometimes we'll do 20 something covers, and then in the summer you're doing 120, and then in the shoulder seasons maybe you're doing like 40 to 60 covers. So each season has its own sort of limits, and I think just a lot of people in this area go away in the winter, or just don't want to go out as much in the winter time. So that's always our goal every winter, is to try to get more people in the slowest months. But it's, sometimes I feel like our patio is a little bit of a curse because it forces you to scale up really quickly. And so I feel like summer is when, obviously we're the busiest, we are making the most money, but it's also the hardest for our staff. And then we have a lot of new staff that we have to train up to the level we want them to be at. And there's just a bunch of challenges that come with like scaling so quickly and then scaling down again in the fall. It's just like mentally really straining.
Yeah, for sure. And like I know very well because I've worked in this area for the past couple of years and I've managed people. So it's like when you go into winter, like you're so used to getting overtime, and then all of a sudden you're not getting overtime and you're like getting 35, you're not even getting 40 hours. So it's like that can be really, really hard on staff too. But that's just like part of the struggle.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of being a cook in this area. It's like it's not year round crazy like New York. I know New York is seasonal as well. Like they have their crazy season in their slower season, but it's still more busy, I would say, generally, like just bigger cities. So
John and I always talk about that. Like we wish we could just be steady, between, like if we could do 50 or 60 covers a night year round, that would be perfect for us. But we have to just do that on average instead. So
it's definitely a challenge being in a smaller.
There's some nice things about when it slows down is we have more flexibility with time off and taking
Yeah.
trips and stuff like that. But,
Which is nice too. It is nice to just be like, okay,
nice
like
to
it's
be
slow
able to
now.
get
We're gonna
whatever
go.
day off you want
Yeah.
instead of having to be worried about not getting to do something.
Yeah.
But it's not great for business, like to have that fluctuation, dramatic fluctuation.
For sure. So you've had 2 children in the past 10 years, right? With
Yeah.
Little Moss being operational. So what was that like? Like, you know, being pregnant and then also like being out for a while after giving birth, I assume, and like
Yeah, so
being a mother and a chef, like what's
it's really hard. It's very challenging. So when my first son was born, right after we opened the Little Moss, I was able to take some time off with him because, you know, we had a full staff here and John was here. So I did come in. I still came in, and because our opening team was anti-dessert, and they didn't want to make any dessert. So so I felt like we needed some kind of dessert on the menu. So I came in to do the pot de crème and a few other little things. So I did work a little bit part-time, like pretty soon after I had Henry. And then I came back in the fall full-time in September. So I had the summer months, like I was still here a lot, but I wasn't really working in the kitchen like I do now. And then when I had my second son, it was actually so much harder because we had a couple people that we thought were in place to kind of run things so I could take some time off. But then they both had some life changes that happened, and one of them had to move away, and another one, you know, got a really interesting job opportunity. So the 2 people I thought were going to be here ended up not being here, and I didn't even take 2 weeks off. I came back like
oh wow
10 days after I had my second son.
wow, that's incredible.
And we were open at the time. We were open 6 days a week. So that was really hard. I was working a lot, 6 days a week, and then I have to look back, but I think we even did brunch back then too. So I think we had a Sunday brunch. And so I was working doubles on Sundays, and
my gosh,
my son would come in with his car seat and be on the back while I was prepping. But it was really hard. That was, you know, very challenging. And yeah, so I've worked more than full-time most of, you know, their childhood.
but I think that's like, I mean, I'm sure it's very difficult. Like there's an emotional toll there because you don't really get to spend as much time with your children as you'd want. But
Yeah.
the example you're setting for them as like, you know, I'm out here really like doing what I can and working hard as a mother is like, couldn't really be a better example.
Well, I think so. And I struggle with that a lot. And sometimes, you know, I do think that. And I think that they're proud of the restaurant. And I think that they're proud of the work I'm doing. So that does feel really good. But I still struggle with like the balance of spending time with them versus working so much. More recently, as they are getting older and they have more like activities going on, I've missed like games, sports games and stuff like that. And I always have a little guilt about that. But
Yeah. That's really the struggle, I mean, of being a chef too. Like I think it's harder as a mother, but like I can't tell you how many birthdays I've missed or how many like things that are going on. And it's like you really, especially when I was in school, because I was in New York for 2 years. 2.5 years, so it's like you're really not around. Like my little brother used to be like, "You abandoned me," and it's like, well, that's really not what I want to hear because that's how I feel. So like you saying that like really confirms
makes
it.
Worse.
But yeah, I mean it's just part of it.
That's part of it.
Part of being a chef.
For
That's
sure.
you just give up time with people.
I think a lot of chefs don't have kids for that reason. So I guess in a way, the seasonality is good for me personally as being a mother, because I can take a little more time off in the winter months and do more things with my kids.
Which is great.
And I wouldn't be able to do if we were busy all year. Maybe. Or maybe I would. Maybe we could figure out how to put people in place better with the seasonality, you know.
Without people like abandoning you.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, it's always a struggle.
For sure. So why do you allow your cooks to be so creative? Because like me and Fook just got here, basically. I've been here 6 months. And I mean, in like the first week, I was like, oh, I'm excited about fermentation and all these things. And now, you know, 6 months later, it's like I have lots of different ingredients that I've made and work into the menu. And I love the dynamic we have right now where it's like, I kind of just make cool ingredients. And I think that I need to work on my like, putting together a complete dish, because I haven't really had a chance to do that in my entire career so far, except for like just at home. But Fook was at Pammy's for 2 years and John George's before that. He staged at Per Se, so he really has like an eye for it. Yeah. So like I love the dynamic we have where I just kind of make cool shit and then Fook is like nice and then we like work it into the menu. Yeah. But most chefs don't let their cooks kind of just have free reign like that. So like why do you allow that?
Well, I think it's important for for you guys to be excited about what you're doing and to feel like you have a personal connection to what you're doing, because I think that's why you chose this career, right? So,
yes.
So
some people may have not, but like my goal always starting out was like I don't necessarily like want to just like make as much money as possible, or like I don't want to just get to the point where I'm sitting in an office.
Career for that.
It's like the goal has always been to be creative. So to get to kind of do that fairly early in my career, I've only really been working out of school for 3 years. It's like pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think I just love working collaboratively. And if I see that someone's excited about something, I just want to foster that and do more of that. And that's another way to always be tweaking.
Always be tweaking, yes.
Just like, when new people come in with great ideas, let's do those ideas.
Yeah, I think that's very like not only cool like of you, but also just a lot of chefs would be like, no, this is what we're doing. Like, or like they don't want anybody to like, they outshine them, or like, you don't want people to like have too much influence, but you really are just like, if it's good and like,
I mean, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't.
Right. Exactly. You're not just like, and I tell you that all the time. If I make something like the blackened sun chokes, or like if I make something and it's nasty, like, please tell me, because it's like, I'm experimenting, you know what I mean? So I value.
That's how you get better, is just trying things.
Yeah. And I value when people are like, this isn't good. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it's important to be honest with people too, I think, which is hard sometimes.
For sure.
Cooking is very personal, but I think, I mean, I want to keep people engaged and excited about what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think you definitely do a good job of that for sure, because I'm excited about it. Like, it's fun and like it's always cool to like, or like even now, like I'm locked into pasta, like knowing that next week we're gonna like just come up with a new pasta. We kind of have a loose outline, but not really. Like that's like why I do it. It's like fun to like just kind of figure it out and then have it be good, and then have people order it and eat it. And like it's a cool, it's a cool thing. So
it's a good feeling.
What's your relationship with like fermentation, and like why do you think it's important?
Well, I think it's important, for obvious reasons, to preserve food. I think it's culturally important with, every culture has some sort of fermentation, and it's kind of fun to learn the different styles and ways. I don't have like a huge background in fermentation, so I've like dabbled with it a little bit, but I'm excited that you're excited about it. And we had we've had a couple other people in the past that are into it. So I've learned a little from them and just from reading about it. But I think it tastes amazing, and it's preserving ingredients that we have, and it's just a cool thing to incorporate as part of like seasonal cooking that we do.
I don't know why I'm like attracted to it initially. Like, I think it's because I was really inspired by Oscar when I first started, and they do a lot of fermenting. So I just always thought that was really cool. But as I've gotten deeper and deeper into it, like, I like the idea of like cultivating bacteria, good bacteria.
Yeah.
And seeing how it like affects the food. It's just very interesting, because even like not even like hard fermentation like lacto fermenting or koji or anything like that, but just like within baking, it's like you're kind of cultivating life within that. Like when you proof something and it has to be timed right, like that is just the coolest thing to me.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's used in so many different ways, which is amazing.
Yeah, it blows my mind though that it's like you kind of are raising, like cultivating life. You really are, and then you bake it at the perfect time, and if those bacteria were happy, like the bread is delicious. Better. Like it's very cool. Like just
it is cool, and it's used in every like style of food, like bread and cheese and yogurt and vinegar and there's
people probably don't even realize it, that there's like bacteria in certain things, but it's a huge part of,
and it's really good for you too.
For sure. I want Kyle to start making some cool kombuchas and stuff.
The ginger kombucha he made I thought was so good. It was really delicious.
I didn't get a chance to try it.
Oh, there might be some. I asked him to pour some off, but I didn't see it in there. He said he did, so.
Well, that's okay. Try some. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do more in the future.
I think he is going to make.
Where do you see Little Moss in the future? Like, what are your goals? And you've been open for 10 years now, so I feel like you're kind of like definitely established as a restaurant, but like, where do you see the future?
Well, I struggle with that a lot because I love Little Moss. I feel like it's like an extension of myself, or like one of my children almost. And I hope that it stays around. I hope we can keep it going for a long time. I would love to see it, continue to evolve, but, on the same mission that it's always had. I don't really see my kids taking it over, though. So I don't know if when I get to a point where I'm ready to step away, I hope that there's people in place that would like to continue its growth and its journey. But I feel like it is part of our community now, and people appreciate it. So I'd like to continue that in some way.
For sure.
I've talked about with like a few of our employees over the years, like maybe doing a cookbook at some point. I don't know if we'll get there. Would be great. It would be really fun. Yeah. It would be a lot of work, but really fun. So that's something I think about. But yeah, that's really it. I don't know exactly.
Taking it day by day.
Always tweaking. I mean, but I would like to see it stay here. I don't plan on, just shutting the doors one day.
No, that would feel depressing.
That'd be really sad.
Yeah. I mean, you put all this effort into it.
Yeah. So much energy has gone into this restaurant. But.
And I think, like you said too, it's not just like cool for you. Like, even though you look at this place as like one of your children, like it's so close to you, but it really has become like part of the village. You know what I mean? And also more than that, like going back to the farmers, it's like, it's such an outlet for them to sell produce and like see it. Like they can come in and eat and be like, those are the carrots I grew. Wow, they're delicious.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Like it really is a cool thing. And I think a cookbook would be great, because that's also just another great way to like get the name out to more people, like.
Yeah.
People love cookbooks.
I love cookbooks.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
my last 3 questions are kind of like a little rapid fire
Okay.
3, but since we mentioned cookbooks, I'll start with that one. So what are your top 3 cookbooks of all time?
Ooh, that's so my top cookbook, I would say, is can't remember when it came out. I like fondly call it Big Yellow. It's a Big Yellow cookbook. It's the Gourmet Cookbook, and it was edited by Ruth Reichel, who was a food writer and editor of Gourmet magazine for a long time. It is a very thick cookbook full of all different kinds of recipes from all over the place. But everything I've made from that cookbook has come out amazing. And some of my favorite recipes of all time are from that cookbook. And it's been just an incredible resource over the years. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Now that I'm talking about it, I want to open it up again. But that's such a great cookbook. And then I would say the Momofuku cookbook. Have you read that?
I haven't read it, actually. I don't have it.
It's so good. We got it when it first came out, which was like 2009 or 10 or something. It's an old cookbook now, but it was just written in a really fun way, and it was really fun to read, and the recipes were really easy, but also amazing. And it's just sort of like was exciting. Like reading it made you excited to cook something, and like it just made it was more fun and less serious. I think it was the first like less serious cookbook, but like great. And then the third cookbook would probably be oh my gosh.
It is hard to narrow it down.
Yeah, it's hard. Probably the Bouchon cookbook by Thomas Keller, because he I also love the French Laundry cookbook, but I feel like the Bouchon cookbook was more like basics of cooking. And
is that the Bouchon Bistro cookbook, or is it the Bouchon Bakery?
Yes, the Bistro. I think it's red.
Mm-hmm.
I also haven't read that one in a long time, but he really taught me about making soup in that cookbook. So he goes over it. So yeah, the Bouchon cookbook, it just like the soup section, the French onion soup recipe in there changed my life. And then he also talks about chicken soup and vichyssoise, and just, I don't know, just like being careful about the steps that you take and the order in which you do things. And yeah, so those are probably the 3 most influential cookbooks for me.
I love the French Laundry cookbook too. I think Thomas Keller's great at like you said, like writing thing. Like the part that really stuck out to me was the blanching part in the French Laundry book. It's literally 1 page, like it's half a page of writing, but just the last sentence where he says like, it's not hard, you just have to decide to do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. It can be applied to so many things, but I think about that all the time because it's true. Like blanching vegetables is super simple, but not really. Like if you're going to do it really nicely, because you want to use a big pot, you want to have it full so the temperature doesn't drop. You want to use a good amount of salt, which also affects the color. Right. You need to ice bath it directly after. You need to know how long it's going to cook. Smaller ones take longer or take less time than the larger ones. So it's like there are a lot of little really technical things in just like blanching a vegetable. But when you do it really nicely, like the result of like just a really nicely seasoned green bean and like just eating it, it's so sweet and delicious and bright green. Whereas if you were to just like, over blanch it, not really think about it, or drop the temperature of the water so it's not really cooking as efficiently.
Then you have to cook it longer.
And then the color just disappears, because the color is like quick. Like it's within seconds. It can be dark green or vibrant neon green. Like it's you just have to decide to do it the right way.
Yeah,
but I think about that all the time. Like that's
great. And that's, for me, it's like I ask myself about like, does this have integrity? And that's kind of the same thing, I feel like. It's like,
Yeah.
meaning like, are we going to cut corners? Are we going to just take the time to do it properly?
Yeah. And I think that's crucial, just to have like a personal quality standard. I had a chef tell me that at school. He was like, we have quality standards here, and like maybe there'll be a quality standard where you work one day. But at the end of the day, when you go out on your own, like your personal quality standard is like, that's it. That is all you have. Like you don't have anything else. Like if you're not going to uphold your own personal quality standard, you have nothing. And that's so true.
That's true.
Like big time, for sure. If there was one thing you could say or would want to teach to somebody who's in culinary school or a cook who's just starting out, what would be that one piece of advice that you would share with them?
Oh, I would say definitely work in a restaurant before you make that investment. See what it's like to really work in a restaurant. I've had a couple of culinary students come and work here and then just not be prepared at all for what it means to like work a busy service or just like, I think it's glamorized so much that people don't quite know what they're getting into all the time. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't.
I didn't. I mean, I'm a good example of someone who went to school first, and then when I was doing my externship, like one of my chefs at Osco was like, they don't even teach you how to cut an onion there. And I was like, I know how to cut an onion. Like, I was like 21 at the time or something. And he was like, show me how you would cut an onion. And I like cut it like as nice as I possibly could, like really small brunoise. And he timed me and he was like, that took you 9 minutes. And I was like, no. And he was like,
possibly be that long.
Right. But it took me that long because also like it was the GM and then the CDC at the time. So it was like, I felt like I was under a lot of pressure too.
You wanted it to be perfect.
Right, exactly. And he told me, he was like, it's good that you can slow down and like really take your time with something, because a lot of people would just rush through it. But then he was like, you need to be more efficient. Like you need to be faster.
Yeah.
And yeah, coming out of school, like I felt like I still didn't know anything. I knew some fundamentals. I knew how to make like consommé. Like I knew some like really technical things that most people don't know, which I think is valuable to know. But
absolutely,
that's why I went like to the Black Whale right when I got out of school, because I was like, I kind of need to just go get my ass kicked for like a year or two and like just really And I always say like I wish I found here sooner because I enjoy working here so much. But part of me is happy that I like went and worked for 2 years at places that I wasn't necessarily in love with, but they paid the bills, and I learned a lot about just working and like, showing up. And
I'm sure there's so much to learn.
But I think that is good advice for people thinking of going to culinary school. Is if I could go back, I definitely would like work for a year maybe at a restaurant and like really see if you're into it, because I do have a lot of friends who were in school with me and either dropped out because it was too expensive, or they just didn't think it was worth it. Or when they did finally get out, they then were like, I don't really want to be in this industry.
Yeah, and it's such a big investment
of
time and money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to find out you don't want to do it. I've had a couple of people work here right out of culinary school and then go to another restaurant and then just change careers totally.
Yeah. Which is very sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, especially when you spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on school, and then 2 years of your life, 4 years of your life, and then you're like, this isn't what I want to do.
The student loans that people have when they get out, and if they're not sure, then that's hard.
Not good. So last question, what is your like favorite food memory? Like what is like the food memory that you just like hold in the highest regard?
Oh my gosh. Well, those tamales I was telling you about are definitely up there, but maybe I would say it's the first time I ever had a tomato sandwich. I was at my grandmother's friend's house, and she had some tomato plants in her backyard, and it was like middle of summer, and I can't remember what we were doing, but anyway, she said, okay, it's time for lunch. We're going to have tomato sandwiches. And I thought, oh no, I'm not gonna like this. Like this sounds terrible. And she had me help her make it. She cut these big slabs of tomato, and she had Pepperidge Farm white bread and Hellman's mayonnaise, and she put a lot of mayonnaise on the bread, and she put salt and pepper on the tomatoes and just like put it in the bread and mayonnaise and gave it to me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to eat this to be polite. And then it was like the best thing I'd ever had in my life. It was so delicious, and it was like one of those things that was like the greater than the sum of its parts. It was just, that tomato was so perfectly ripe and juicy, and it like dripped everywhere, and I didn't care. So good.
Nice. I feel like kind of a similar like thought of like my grandmother's tomato. She had a garden, and like just eating like cherry tomatoes out of the garden.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't like tomatoes before, but that is like.
Yeah, I think when you have like low expectations and something just kind of over exceeds what you could imagine, it's like those are the best experiences. Like a good surprise.
For sure. Well, thank you for doing this.
All right,
I appreciate
thanks,
it.
Owen.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
getting
fun.
hot in here, so
I know, it is getting hot in here.
yeah, I'm like
It's
sweating
really
a little
hot
bit, so
out.
we can end it here. But
Okay, well,
yeah.
that was fun. Thank you.
Of course, thanks for coming on. Bye, everybody.